Welcome back to WCTV Senior Spotlight Series. My name's Jack Hillgrove, sitting down with another member of the Waynesburg University Department of Communications senior class of 2021, Adam Morgante. What's up, bud? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So let's start, talk about your journey to Waynesburg. I know you've been a pretty busy guy in the department for the last 4 years, dipping your hands in pretty much everything, the Yellow Jacket, WCTV radio, but talk about yourself as a senior in high school, Freeport High School in Sarver, Pennsylvania, and making that choice to come to Waynesburg.
Yeah, well, it really wasn't that hard of a choice for me. I'll take back to the summer between my junior and senior year of high school. I went to a sports announcing camp here at Waynesburg with Laney Terry, and I just got so much out of that week. I learned a lot of valuable things. I obviously went to that camp because I was interested in sports broadcasting and going down that field, and with learning a lot of valuable things and meeting some good friends that I'm still friends with to this day. That was honestly one of the most fun weeks of my life. And I remember getting into that car, my parents picked me up, and I told them I can see myself going here. So go to senior year, it was around late September. Waynesburg came to my school, and I just filled out an application there. And 1 week later, I found out that I was accepted, and I was very excited, and I didn't apply anywhere else. I checked out Penn State, New Kensington, which is near my house, if I wanted to maybe commute for a year. That didn't show my interest, so pretty much Waynesburg was set in stone for me ever since I went to the sports announcing camp, and I don't regret that decision one bit.
And talk about your decision in figuring out that moment of when you wanted to become a sportscaster. What made you want to decide to not only come to Waynesburg University, but to major in communications and pursue this field?
Yeah, I don't remember when I kind of had this light bulb go off in my head. I don't remember exactly, but as you are, I'm also a very big sports fan. And one day I was watching some football game. I don't know if it was a Steeler game or just a regular NFL game, but I guess I just realized that there's these two people announcing the game, and I'm like, wait, they pay people to just talk about sports and do play-by-play? Like, sign me up. That sounds like a lot of fun. So that's really when it sparked my interest. I guess like high school was really when I started being serious about if I wanted to major and something I'd want to do as a career. So I guess high school is when I started hitting it, but when I was I guess watching I would probably say maybe grade school, middle school, when I realized that I thought it would be really cool. And the biggest thing that stood out with Waynesburg for me, like I toured a few schools before that, and Robert Morris was probably second on my list, but the biggest thing that stood out with Waynesburg was they had a specific sports broadcasting major. All the other schools that I looked at before, they were just majoring in communications. So the fact that Waynesburg had the sports broadcasting emphasis made it my number one choice.
All right, so you're the news director of WCYJ, and again, in your senior year. You're the sports director of the TV station. You spearheaded the partnership with Operation Football and WTAE Pittsburgh in the fall, shooting highlights, high school football highlights for them. You've dipped your hat in a heck of a lot of rings. What's been some of your most favorite parts of doing and working within the Department of Communication? And if you had to, try and do it over again, maybe what would you do differently?
Wow, that's a tough question. I guess the Operation Football opportunity was a great opportunity because my junior year I shadowed Paul Zalakar, who was a senior, and he was also the general manager of WCTV. So he asked me if that'd be something I'd be interested in. I'll be like, yeah. So I shadowed him a few times. He took me under his wing. I already knew the basics of shooting highlights, but he taught me even more, like where to be positionally on the field. Unfortunately, with COVID restrictions this fall, I wasn't allowed to be field level. I had to be in the bleachers, so that was a obstacle, but that was still very fun. And like previous years, you go to the WTAE studio and you have one of their workers edit the highlights for you, and then you also tell Andrew Stockey like the log and like the highlights. But since we weren't allowed to go to the TAE studio, I had to do the highlights myself. Like, he told me how long he wanted them cut, and then I wrote the script for him as well. So that gained me a lot of experience in editing, and he said that he really enjoyed me writing the script. So I gained a lot of knowledge of that. But for a moment, I would probably have to say is my favorite. There's obviously a lot, but one that definitely sticks out for me is going back to last year, spring semester, our very first trailer production with the HD equipment. And that was just a very monumental turning point for, I think, us in the history of the department, because we were working so hard to raise money to get all the donations for the HD equipment. And we do that game. It was the last game of the regular season for men's and women's basketball. We pretty much had no training. We were pretty much learning as we go. And I think we did as good of a job as we could with that broadcast. I mean, yeah, there was a few hiccups. I mean, there's always going to be in every broadcast you do, but for that being the first time, we really hit a home run with that. And I just, anytime, not only that, but anytime there's a group department thing that we do and we come together and do it well is very satisfying. I guess something I would go back and do differently is maybe pay attention to learn the equipment a little better than I do now, because I feel like a little bit now I'm still not 100% certain on some stuff that I should be, so that's probably something I would do differently.
All right, talk about real quickly your life outside of the Department of Communication. Obviously, you and I are pretty good friends. We have a pretty solid group of friends that has been intact pretty much since freshman year. So talk about our group of friends and being social on campus as well, and how that's kind of fared for you for the last 4 years as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been very seamless, really. Freshman year, how I started making friends. I remember the first day I was here, I literally knocked on the room next to me, and they were watching ESPN 30 for 30, and like, hey, can I come in? And he's like, sure. I'm like, oh, I'm Adam, nice meeting you. And that's really how it started. I guess the biggest thing, and for any freshmen that are watching it that are trying to find a way to make friends, the biggest thing is in your freshman dorm, just become friends with your neighbors around you, because the person that lived across from me, Will Purball, I'm still friends with to this day. The person that lived next to me, CJ Sakanik, I'm still friends with to this day. And really, that's really the easy part to make friends, is to get to know the people on your floor, and you'll be able to make a stable friend group out of that. So it hasn't really been that much of a challenge for me, for sure.
What's the end goal for you? Where do you want this degree that you're going to get, probably, hopefully, bearing everything going the right way in May, where do you want that degree to carry you? What's your ultimate dream job in the communication field?
I guess ultimate dream job would be, I guess, a play-by-play announcer for, I'd probably say, the NFL. I guess right now I like doing basketball more, but that's always been the goal, is for any NFL team. I realized I'd have to work my way up, and it kind of comes in a while to do it, but like, I'd be willing to work behind the scenes in a producer job or a videography job. But ever since freshman year, my ultimate dream job would have to be, I guess I'd say play-by-play for any professional team, whether that's NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL. So that would be my dream job.
Yeah, one of the things, too, that I've noticed, and an area that you've grown really nicely in, is your ability to shoot with a camera. And I think, and you and I obviously being pretty good friends, I think that attribute grew for you, or began to, with your internship with the Washington Wild Things a couple of summers ago. So talk about applying for that internship, because it was a video production internship, something that, steering away from the play-by-play path. Talk about getting into that and then ultimately carrying that internship out that summer.
Yeah, so I guess ever since our freshman year, we had that opening communication meeting. We had that term, big bucket, just draining our heads, and being as involved and versatile as you can. So going into that internship, I thought, I mean, sophomore year, I did have a little experience with the camera, but I figured it's something I liked. It's something that the Wild Things offered, so I figured I'd go for it. So that was kind of my decision-making process, to have another tool in my toolbox, if you will, to be more versatile and be more hireable so I can do more things. And I learned some stuff with the camera that, I mean, I knew some stuff already, but I picked up on some new things that I still apply now. So that's kind of the process I had with that internship. It was very cool too, how it was repetition, to where if they're telling me you have to prove on this, I can do that right away. So that was really the process in doing that internship, is just having something besides sports broadcasting that I can improve upon.
Adam, last question for you before we wrap up. Obviously, you're getting ready to graduate from Waynesburg University in the Department of Communication. What's the thing that you'll miss most, not only from your time in the department, but just being a student at Waynesburg University?
Wow, that's a tough question. I'd probably have to say seeing all my friends every day at school, because who knows, once we all graduate, where we're all going to end up. Where we could be all on opposite ends of the country for all we know. So that'll be sad. I'll miss that a lot with missing my college friends, because once you get a job, you won't be able to hang out and see them every day like you are now. And just everything in the department that we've done, I'll miss a lot, like doing WUSIN, doing TV broadcasts, doing radio. I'm pretty much going to miss everything in the department, and it's going to be hard saying bye to my friends, like not only here but back home, if I have to move far away for that first job.
Adam, thanks so much, buddy. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. Good luck too.
For Adam, I'm Jack. That's this installment of our Senior Spotlight series. Be on the lookout on our YouTube page, WUDP, for more of our 2021 Waynesburg Communication Department seniors.